well, let's continue this Halloween Horror Fest with a top 10 list. Since obviously a couple years ago I did a top 10 of what I think the best zombie movies ever made, let's shift over to video games. Yep, shall we? Since there's so many zombie video games, and to my knowledge, zombies are still pretty popular when it comes to the video game genre. You know, slaughtering them, killing them, and so forth, even becoming one of them. Yeah, why not, right? So, yep, this is my top 10 best zombie video games. And keep in mind, people, this is just my opinion, so if you don't agree with me, then too bad. Otherwise, let's get to it, starting with number 10. Zombie U. Obviously only on the Nintendo Wii U, which I've mentioned several times. I reviewed it. I even included it on my top 10 best Wii U games list. And we all know the Wii U did not sell very good, and at this point it's considered pretty much a dead Nintendo console because the Switch came around and pretty much kicked it right off the face of the earth, and exceeded all sales and expectations because of its improvement on third-party support and online multiplayer and so forth. So the Wii U did have its share of good games, and I think this one is definitely worth checking out if you're a zombie video game fan. It's got plenty of horrifying scenery and everything, and I think it works great. Of course, it's a first-person game. You start out with a cricket paddle, and being that, of course, you're in London, out of all places, it does seem a little generic, and it takes a little bit of getting used to. Eventually, you do get other weapons like guns and so forth, and yeah, it is pretty annoying every time you die. You know, your stuff gets dropped at that point, no matter how far you make it, and you have to start from the latest save point that you saved your game at, and get that stuff back, and fight off your own zombie person. So it's pretty interesting and fascinating, but it can be a little tedious. It takes a little getting used to, and yes, of course, it's not a TV off-mode game that you can switch back and forth between the TV and the gamepad, but that's because the gamepad mainly has the map, and I know it's annoying sometimes the map can go off if the reception's bad, with the booby traps and everything like that, but in my opinion, I think it's a very underrated game. Definitely way better, as I said many times when I talked about this game, better than a 4.5 out of 10. I still don't understand that rating. I know it's not the greatest zombie killing game, but it's definitely not that bad. It's definitely way better than that GameSpot. I mean, come on. So, not the best Wii U game, but certainly not bad either. I mean, it even has some interesting extras to it, like as I showed it several years ago, scan your face with the gamepad, and it shows what your face would look like if you were a zombie. So, yeah, it's pretty interesting for the most part, and it's a pretty lengthy adventure, so check it out if you still got the Wii U. I can understand, like I said, the Wii U is pretty much dead, but I think this one's very underrated. Number 9. Call of Duty Zombies. Alright, well, this is obviously sort of, but not really a cheat, because, well, yeah, it's a side game on most of the Call of Duty games, and I say most of them, not every single one. The Modern Warfare games mostly, obviously, are the ones who don't have them. The first one that had it, as I remember, was World at War, which I think is a fantastic war game, you know, out of the Call of Duty franchise. And then, of course, Black Ops games obviously have them, and so forth. So, some of them are good. My main favorite's probably from Black Ops 1. But the other ones from, like, Black Ops 3 are a bit glitchy and laggy, so... But I say check them all out if you got the chance. But I would start with World at War. It's so much fun. It's a bit repetitive because there's really no end to it. It's an arcade-style game. And, of course, it's even more fun if you play multiplayer, because, of course, if you're playing by yourself and you fall down, well, in World at War version and some of the other versions, you can't, obviously, start up again, that's it. You're dead. So if you have another player, you know, human player, whether you're playing local multiplayer or online, that person can help revive you and so forth, and you make your way through and, you know, get through further and further inside the bunker and shoot your way through a herd of zombies. I mean, they just keep coming, and the levels, I've seen people play this shit online, like, making it up to level 100. I mean, I've never made it that far, but it's a blast, trust me. Getting all the different weapons and upgrades and so forth, using your points that you get from, you know, killing zombies, and of course, you actually get it from repairing the boards that you use to board up and keep the zombies out, but of course they're just going to tear them down anyway, so check them all out if you got the chance. It's definitely worth it. Number 8. Dead Island. Alright, well, this may not be the best. It seems like a bit of a generic idea yet again. You know, getting stranded on an island of zombies. What more do you expect? Well, just a good old hack and slash and first-person shooter zombie killer. And on an island? Not a bad idea. It's like Paradise Gone to Hell, and it's just so much fun to slash the shit out of enemies. Some of the cutscenes and story is not really very strong, but I'd still say it's worth a shot. I mean, You may not want a vacation in this paradise, but let me tell you, in a video game world, it's definitely good old zombie killing fun time. Number 7. Plants vs. Zombies. Alright, well, this may seem like a bit of a kiddie-ish idea. I mean, yeah, the idea is not really the greatest when you really think about it on paper. You're playing as a bunch of plants shooting at cartoon-like zombies. And yes, this got a couple of other spin-offs, and it has a sequel coming and so forth. And it's obviously originally was primarily released on the PC, and eventually it made its way to some of the home consoles. So, yeah, it may seem like a simplistic type of game that doesn't really have a lot to offer compared to other zombie killing games, but it's actually pretty fun and addictive. If you didn't like it, that's fine, but man, I got hooked on it pretty fast, and I had a hard time putting this one down. So, again, cartoonish, but sometimes cartoony stuff can be pretty fun and creative. Number 6. Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Released for both the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis, of course at the time of the 16-bit war era. Yep, Zombies Ate My Neighbors. I've only played the version on Super Nintendo, and let me assure you, it was a blast. It may not have been met critically well by most fans when it first came out, because yeah, let me assure you, this is a pretty tough game. It's obviously an overhead type game, and that's what you expect out of a 16-bit console. I mean, you're not going to get the stuff that we have today back then in the 90s. And it's made by LucasArts, obviously, the same company that did Indiana Jones and Star Wars games, and they did a great job with them, actually. And this one I thought was pretty good. The soundtrack is pretty good. Some of the stuff is a bit cartoonish, but I thought it was pretty creative. I mean, yeah, you have to know your way around. The levels are mostly mazes, especially when you get further on and further on. You have to collect weapons and everything, and it can get pretty damn difficult for the most part. So, yeah. Definitely check it out if you're up for the challenge. It's available on Wii and Wii U Virtual Console. I don't know for how much longer, because from what I've heard, the Wii Virtual Console is going to go down soon. So if you still got the original Wii, this is your chance right now to download it, because, well, it's only on that Virtual Console. It's not on the Wii U's or 3DS's. Not that it would really matter, because obviously it wouldn't be playable on the original 3DS model. You obviously have to have the newer model to play the Super Nintendo games, which I agree is totally stupid. Unless you can get an original Super Nintendo or Sega Genesis and get a copy of the game online off eBay somewhere, it's still worth a shot. Number 5, Dead Rising. Which one? I'm going to choose the first one. And don't get me wrong, I recommend the second one too as well, but the other sequels are kind of a mixed bag amongst most fans, and I can kind of see why. Not to mention Dead Rising 3 is only on Xbox One and PC, no PS4 version, but thankfully Capcom changed their ways with Dead Rising 4. They made it available for PS4 a year after the Xbox One and PC version came around. And there's a lot of other DLC packs and everything like that for some of these games and the sequels as well, but I would start from square one with this series. I think this is a superb open world type of zombie killing game where you go through cities, shopping malls, carry around different weapons, and have to know your way around. So it may not be for everybody because, yeah, it is sort of like Grand Theft Auto a little bit, trying to make your way through like shopping mall, big city, and everything like that. So it's a lot of knowing your way around sort of thing. It's a little bit like Zombies Ate My Neighbors, except it's in a third-person perspective, obviously. So may not be for everybody, but if you like killing good old zombies and knowing your way around, you know, using your head to solve puzzles and everything like that, and, well, just slaughter the shit out of zombies, well, this is for you. And I definitely would check the second one out, as I said before. The dead is certainly rising in this series. Number 4, Left 4 Dead 2. Yes, I hate to admit it, but I prefer the sequel over the first one, and I know I'm not alone on this one because, well, while the first one laid the ground great, and also these are only PC and Xbox exclusives, yes, only released on PC and the Xbox 360. PlayStation and Nintendo pretty much got left in the dust on this one, and that's why I'm glad I bought a 360, well, before the PS4 and Xbox One generation. But yeah, this series did pretty good, and the first one did pretty good, especially with its online. If anything, that's the best part of this series. I mean, yeah, you got a single-player mode, and you can obviously have local multiplayer and tag teams and all that. And, of course, the even cooler part is, with this sequel, especially, if you die, you can come back as a zombie. Yeah, and then the first one, too, as well. But, man, this game just takes everything that makes the first one great and expands on it, adding more weapons, zombies, levels, everything you can imagine. The online is just as fun and cool as ever, I mean, I would definitely check it out if you have an Xbox 360. Not sure if it's backwards compatible with Xbox One. That's the one thing that we'll say and compliment about Xbox One over PS4, even though obviously I went for PlayStation 4. But yeah, if you got an Xbox 360, this one is definitely not one to be left for dead. It's meant to be left in your collection, played around this time of the year. Number 3, Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare Pack. I know, it's a DLC pack technically, so again, it might seem like I'm cheating, but this is kind of its own game within the game. I thought at first this was going to be a cheesy expansion, but yeah, it actually opens up a new adventure. And chronologically, spoiler alert, it's actually a prequel to the first Red Dead Redemption game. And I am looking forward to the second one coming out the end of this month, but overall, this expansion pack definitely exceeded my expectations. Yes, I already reviewed it, so check it out. Most of these games are on my zombie game review from 2011. And yes, eventually it did get a physical release. I don't think I have to say much more about it. Killing zombies, trying to free towns from zombie plagues and torch them and everything like that. It's a full adventure within itself. I mean, it definitely takes what makes the first Red Dead Redemption great and expands on it. It's almost like a sequel within itself. As I mentioned, it's a prequel, so it leads up to the first game. So, major spoiler right there. Oh well, I can't resist. Number 2, Resident Evil 4. Yes. I did mention in my zombie game review back in 2011 that I did consider this game a little overrated and I kind of preferred the 5th one, but over time I realized why this one is better to begin with. Yeah, I know the Ashley character is a bit annoying having to play lifeguard and babysitter the whole way, but damn, the scenery, all the gritty texture and everything like that, even for PlayStation 2, and it's available on many other consoles, and it even got a re-release on PlayStation 4. And yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the re-release of Resident Evil 2, how they're going to revamp that game into this style of gameplay. Because this third-person perspective is awesome. I mean, shooting zombies, all the undead, all these enemies and everything, boss fights, all the different puzzles and everything, it kept me hooked the whole way. It is terrifying some parts. I mean, it's just absolutely great. Yeah, the only annoying part aside from having to deal with Ashley is having to play as her, and that's when you're ill-equipped to have to deal with not being able to use a weapon. So, yeah, once you get through that and past that, it's a really great game. It's probably the best in my opinion, and, well, and there's other ones in this series that are great, but I'd still recommend this one. So, if you can get the re-release version on PS4 or Xbox One, or even on PS2 and the older consoles, it still holds up great even to this day. And the number 1 best zombie killing game is, well, which one haven't I mentioned? Last of Us, on PlayStation 3, and most importantly, remastered on PlayStation 4. Yes, this is only a PlayStation exclusive, so sorry Nintendo and Xbox fans, you're going to get left in the dust once again on this one. And yes, of course, I am definitely looking forward and super hyped for the sequel, which we all know and can guess is not coming out this year, but hey, the longer they take, the more effort they put into the game, the better it will be. There's nothing worse than a rushed game, because, well, you don't want it to end up like one of these. Trust me. We want this game to be great, and almost as good as the first one, if not even better, improve over it, develop the characters more, put more weapons, more levels, great graphics, and especially more zombie killing. I mean, what made this game great is not only the fact that it's a straight-up zombie killing game, it's not just a typical generic one, it has a thick story to it. Just watch my review on it and you'll know why this game is so great. I mean, it's just a masterpiece by all means. The characters and everything are so well liked. Your main character, of course, is a male character, and of course Ellie tags along with you. She's obviously a stranger on the streets, and of course you're trying to get revenge against the smugglers for murdering your daughter during a zombie apocalyptic plague. So it's kind of a personal story, but it ends up becoming a big story within itself, and it just expands on itself. And the graphics and everything, the characters, the dialogue, it's just wow, incredible. I mean, this is a zombie world that I could live in. I mean, I can compliment this game for every bit of detail, all the weapon manufacturing, and yeah, I know the clickers can be a little annoying trying to take out, and you have the different classifications of zombies and all that stuff, but damn, all the puzzles, all the strategy involved, it's just so well done. I mean, I couldn't put this one down until I beat it, And I even went back to get all the side quests and everything and all the unlockables to get the achievements done. And even on the remastered edition, there's a side game where you play as Ellie and her friend. Not as good, but still, it develops the character more. And yeah, there's even an online multiplayer, which I'm not too thrilled about, but it's okay. I'm just not very good at that. But the single-player campaign mode is fantastic. If you have a PlayStation 4, definitely get this one. I can't stress how much more. If you're a zombie-killing video game fanatic, this one is a definite must-have for a PlayStation fan. So, that's my list right there. Till next time, happy Halloween. See you soon, hopefully.